Okay, this video is going to be focused on installing a classic auto air conditioning system. This is a 67 Plymouth Satellite. So the mounting brackets you see here are from Bushland Engineering. I'll put that down in the notes. It's not supplied by Classic Auto Air. So you can see I have my compressor is mounted here. It's got a double row on it. I only utilize the outside. This was originally an air-conditioned car. So as a result, you can see down there, it has a three-row pulley. I ended up only using the first two rows and not using the outer one. The only support brackets that I used from the original car is this lower one here. Can't really see it there. That supports the alternator. All the other support brackets are by Bushland Engineering. So if I can show you a little bit about what's done here. This plate here mounts, there's a spacer back there, you can see it. And that mounts to the front part that supports the alternator. And there's a back bracket here that's supporting the back side of the alternator. I had to use the supplied spacers. There's one here, the larger one in peen with the two mounting tabs on the alternator, and then another spacer back here. And then I had to put another shim in here because that gap in between was just a little bit too wide. Looking at the same thing from the other side, you can see that front mounting bracket right here. I did have to move the water from the intake manifold back. I had it mounted here, but was too close to the compressor, so I moved it into this location here. Other than that, there wasn't any interference at all. The installation is not yet complete, but all of the hardware is there. So this is also a power steering car. So the outer pulley here on the compressor goes to the power steering, and then we'll go to the center row of the pulley down there. I'm not using the outer one. So that's the mounting arrangement for the compressor, and you can see that there's a strut here that goes back to what I'm using for my ground as well. So that's for the compressor. Going forward now to the condenser, you can see that down at the bottom there's one little mounting bracket down there at the bottom. It just rests on that, it doesn't bolt to it. That bolts to two existing holes in the bottom underneath the radiator, one on each side. And then there's two tabs that you have to mount to the condenser. One here, and there's another tab over here. And then those in turn mount to the core support. So you got one on that side and you got one on this side. That went in quite easily. You can see I have the grill work removed, but I did not have to move any of this stuff. The condenser slipped down in there quite easily. So on the right-hand side on this car, now this was a direct fit for the 67 with air conditioning with power steering. So the two, this is the discharge line from the condenser, and you can see the other one down the bottom. And they kind of, get some light over here, they kind of sneak up right here and go through an existing hole in the core support, and then they go underneath the battery bracket. I had to remove this and then sneak them underneath here and back, and then these two supplied loops that attach it to the inner fender. Okay, so on the firewall inside, obviously the entire heater core is removed. All of it's gone. The vacuum lines that were used to control it, all of it's gone. The small little control panel that came on the inside of the car, this has been removed, and everything behind it has been removed, and you get new stuff. So you'll notice that there's a block off plate here It's underneath my ballast resistor and my voltage regulator. So this goes in, covering existing holes. This is where the radiator, the hot water went to the heater, and there was a valve there for the air conditioning as well. So there will be another plate to cover this area here, and it has existing holes in it for the new air conditioning attachments. Now the dryer, I'm assuming I'm going to be mounting here as it goes in there. But you do get these nice cover plates to cover up existing holes that are no longer needed. So here's a view of the heater box installed in the car from the engine side. So this was a air-conditioned car, so this hole was already there. So it wasn't a challenge at all to get the heater box to come through with the fittings for water and air conditioning. And then you'll notice the two mounting bolts here, and then there. The only modification I really had to do is down here, there's a hole. According to Classic Air, they want a 3/4 inch hole for the drain out of the heater box. That would be for the air conditioning. So that went in actually pretty easy. Here is the heater box from the inside. So seats, carpet are out. You'll notice it hangs down a little bit, not too bad. One thing I did notice though was the vent for that was already in the car was right in front of that fan. So I'm going to have to move it to one side to it was actually over here in the backing that goes on backside here was right against this box. So I'm going to move it over to give me some room behind it to make that work. And then you can see up here the inside. Let me get a light up here so you can see a little bit better. That bracket right there, this one here, this black one, was supplied in the kit, and it mounts to an existing location. The instructions said to mount another bracket, which is right there, this one here on the back side, it's black, to the inside of the cowl, but there's a huge gap, so it didn't work. So the bracket that you see here, this one here, was over on the other side against the stock unit. So I just bent it here, put a nut and bolt, and then put a self-tapping screw up here and mount it. So there's actually 4 mounting points. There's this one here, there's this one over here, and then the 2 on the firewall side. So it's quite secure at this point. Back on the outside, I got this plate in. There's insulation on the back. I cut little slots in it, and then this was a bear. I had to kind of reposition the 2 copper. This is the water in and out to get them to feed through, but it's there. They give you 4 self-tapping screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, to secure this plate to the firewall. This wire, this cable, is what connects to the water valve that controls the heat coming in and out. I thought I could bring it through somewhere else, but with that size connector on there, I didn't really have much trust. So I fed it through the hole first and then slid the plate on. I'll have to close up that hole. The kit did come with some plastic plugs. There's one there, there's one right there, and then there's another one on the other side to plug up existing holes. I'll have to figure out what to do there, and then I'm still debating if I leave it black or paint it body color. I'm not sure. Okay, so I had to do a little bit of modification. These 2 vents, I have one on each side. This is air conditioned car, so I had 2 vents in the center console, but those are not the issue. But this is lower left driver's side. I get another one lower right passenger side, and they mount with these 2 screws here up under the dash. The problem is the vent comes with a louver, right? So it closes and opens. Now, if this goes on, and this is the adapter I got from Classic Auto Air, One, it interferes with the handle here. So the handle is too wide to fit in this slot. And the other thing is that when the louver is in open position, and I'd like to keep the open and close capability, right? So if I decide to close it, I can do that. If you decide you don't need it, then this is a non-issue. But I decided to keep it. So I'm gonna have to cut this hole larger, and I can't slide the bracket on all the way, because then the back side of this inside, the inside of this cover will bump into the louver here. So I'm going to do a little bit of modification. And again, if you don't want the handle or the louver, not an issue. Just slide this on. It's under the dash. You're good to go. Okay, so here's the ducting. You can see the two in the back go to the defrost. I got one defrost here, and I got another defrost there. The two here, or this one on top, goes to the center vents. And then there's two on the bottom. One's pointing off to the passenger side, where I snake it up here, and then it comes down to that vent there. And then this one here comes up and over, and then goes down. There's a pretty sharp right-hand turn coming from above and then turning to go into the vent. This blue tape here, I'll probably change that, but when the black cover went on the back of this vent, I left a gap here because I needed to move it back because the little door gets in the way. So I'll probably be changing that. I got the same thing on this side, but the on and off louvers now work. So opens and closes, so which is the way I wanted it. But the vent or the fan intake is on this side and on the other side, so I really don't think it will obstruct it very much. And then here's some of the view from down below. So, and I believe that vent right there is the floor vent. So you'll have defrost, center vent, and the floor. Okay, so now I have the hoses hooked up. You see where I got the, I don't have the water lines in yet, but the sensor high pressure switch I think is right there. And got this mount. I was able to use on the back side, you can't see it, there's two holes where I had, well, I think the original evaporator was, so I was able to use those same holes to mount this one. The bend in the hoses is a little awkward. I don't know if this is how they want it to be, but you can see this one's got kind of like a 22 degree, which I pointed it sideways to bring it closer to the engine, which comes around here and then goes into the, I think that's the high side, I'm not sure. But that mounted up okay. And then the other one off of the evaporator has got another weird angle, which sweeps it close and then goes in up here and then back in to that side. I don't really like the shape of the hose the way there is right now. I don't know what I can do about it, except maybe I could have this one shortened, perhaps. Maybe if I go into the AC shop when I get it charged, maybe they could do that. If I took some off and then they put a new fitting on it, then I can bring these two hoses and sweep them closer together. But I think it's fully functional at this stage. Now I've got to hook up the water line and the water control valve, which I don't know what I did with it right now. So anyway, that's next. Okay, here's my finished product. So you can see how the lines run through the firewall. I think for now I'm going to leave the cover plates as they are. I haven't decided if I'm going to paint them body color. You can still see, I think I'm going to have this changed, but there's that weird angle on the cold side. I don't know why that's in there. I think it would be better if it ran straight out without a bend in it. So I may work with an air conditioning shop and have that changed. But All the lines run through, so the hot and cold, or the water lines, the return. There's the valve that controls the temperature. I kind of have them zip tied together, hopefully, to just keep them a little organized. I keep this one here, the cold side, up above the header pipes. I talked to Classic Auto Air, and they said there's no issues with the proximity there, so I'm okay. But I did a little bit of zip tying here just to tidy things up a little bit. Overall, I'm really happy. I'm getting, we charged the system. I went to a local air conditioning shop, put a dye in it, but I'm getting probably, early test, I was getting like 46 degrees. It might be a little bit colder than that on the inside.